Hi, Pat here again, and I'm just commenting on the second video by Harry Reasoner in response to my earlier video on problem questions for atheists. I can't remember the title of Bill's second video, but so we'll get to that. Just before I start on the second response, on the first response he had a footnote on what I thought about extinction of animals, how animals have come and gone in the past. Well, I can't say that I know the answer to that conclusively. I have a few ideas, but I will tell you that I think that it's due to partly to the fact that the Earth today is not the way it was intended to be by its designer. It's currently in a state of decay, and the environment is pretty messed up. Also, I think man has contributed to that as well with the way that he has ruined the environment. What I do find interesting about extinction is that there are many cases where creatures seem to appear suddenly in the fossil record and then just disappear without any transitional links before or after. Anyway, that's all I can think of to say on that at the moment. We can also always talk about that more later. On my question, in your second video, on my question regarding the origin of DNA, you claimed that you don't know the origin of DNA, and in fact no one knows. You also questioned whether I believed in the origin of DNA if it had anything to do with evolution. A quick Google of, if you type in DNA evolution, will show you that there are many articles on that heading. Now, if DNA existed in single-celled life forms, and then those single-celled life forms evolved, then obviously DNA had to evolve to generate new information that we currently see today in complex species such as humans and apes, etc. So that's the evolution of DNA right there, but prior to that, it's been suggested that DNA evolved from prebiotic RNA, perhaps in protobionts. So that's evolution of DNA there as well, from RNA to DNA. You know, this is all hypothetical because I don't believe in it anyway. But and that actually ties in with a point that you make a bit later on about abiogenesis. Anyway, on admitting that you don't know the origin of DNA, you rightly claim that it's fair and correct to say that we don't know, or perhaps we don't know yet. But you see, Earl, then you must also open up the possibility that DNA was designed by an intelligent designer. If we don't know the origin of DNA, if we can't explain it, if we can't explain it through natural mechanisms, then we have to leave all possibilities on the table. And since everything we see in life gives us examples that when something is complex, it usually has a designer behind it. That is a good a good argument to at least explore the possibility of intelligent design. I wonder what you think about that. On the question regarding to explain the origin of the 40-odd components of the bacterial flagellum and their previous function, you honestly admitted that you are not a biochemist and you can't answer the question. You also suggested that I'm bluffing. I'm not sure what you think I'm bluffing about. I also am not a biochemist. I don't have intricate knowledge of these things. I struggle with some of it. I do have some knowledge on it, and I do a lot of research as I go. If I come across something, I speak to a guy by the name of evobiologist from time to time. He is a biologist, and he's actually, although he disagrees with my view, he's very helpful in explaining things to me. And I've also spoken to, I've actually emailed some biologists, one by the name of Kenneth Pang, who's a interesting chap. and John Maddock as well. So I'm learning as I'm going, but look, I'm not claiming to know the answer to this question of the 40-odd components, because number one, I don't believe it's true anyway, and number two, to date I have not heard an answer to those, an answer for the explanation of those components. I have learnt from listening to Scott Minich, that who has studied the bacterial flagellum for some 20-odd years, that science has not been able to account for all the components as having a previous function. So you're welcome to prove me wrong. But the point of the question was to see whether atheist evolutionists on YouTube were aware of the argument they're presenting. Now, you then commented on my question regarding the line between abiogenesis and biological evolution, that the line is fuzzy and unclear. And now that was something I read in a science magazine actually some time ago. It does seem that there is a disagreement as to what constitutes life. I don't see how this has any of the implications for theism as you suggest, and perhaps you can elaborate on that a bit. For instance, what's the problem with a creator that designed protobionts and eukaryotic cells? I don't see the problem. Perhaps I'm missing your point. Please explain if I've missed it. Well, anyway, in summary, I just want to go back and say that again, the point of my video, Problem Questions for Atheists, was to see whether the atheist evolutionists on YouTube that present these arguments actually understand the arguments that they're presenting. That was the question. Okay. Now on the 2 points that you've commented on here in this video, on the origin of DNA, you said you don't know. On the origin of the components of the bacterial flagellum, you said you don't know. So, and I think that I'm really grateful that you commented on that and that you were honest about it, because I would regard you as one of the more educated atheists on YouTube, and you're honest enough to admit to those questions that you don't know the answer. So I think you've proved my point that I was trying to make, and for that I thank you. Anyway, Earl, really appreciate that you made those 2 videos on my behalf. As I said, I do count you as a friend, and sometimes I wonder, you get a little bit, the way you speak, you get a little bit sarcastic, and I wonder whether you do consider me as a friend, but I do like you. Anyway, thanks very much.